Hi everyone. My name is Victoria Caputo, and I am 25 years old now, living in Portchester, New York, but grew up in Greenwich, Connecticut. And I went to Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, so I'm familiar up with your area in Westport as well. So I moved to Greenwich when I was 9, and it was not something that I really ever wanted to do. I loved my friends, I loved my home, and when we moved, it was before cell phones and everything. So I kind of lost touch with a lot of my friends and, went through the typical things that people and kids at that age go through of self esteem issues and bullying and all these things, really take a toll on a child's life. Seventh grade, so middle school in Greenwich, Connecticut, was a lot of bullying, which led to even more self esteem issues and a bunch of self doubt and self loathing. And it kind of spiraled out of control for about 5 years, from seventh grade all the way up to senior year of high school. And it got so bad that actually I started self harming just in order to feel something and focus on something other than the mental pain that I was going through and all of these things that I just needed to escape from. And that was the only way I could find that. After years of hiding that, it was obvious that I was going through severe depression and anxiety. I was also diagnosed with a borderline personality disorder and as well as an eating disorder, bulimia and anorexic tendencies. And all of these things just kind of built up to why am I still here? And what kind of a life is this for me? And why would anyone want to live this life? So, senior year of high school, January of 2013, I actually attempted to take my own life, and the accident was deemed fatal, meaning that anyone who was involved in that accident should have died. No one should have survived that accident. And that has been a challenge for me over the years, trying to figure out why, I have this life that I just don't understand why I'm in, with depression and anxiety and bullying and eating disorder. I couldn't understand the irony of an accident being clarified as fatal, yet I'm still here. And actually, it's ironic because after the accident, when I was recovering, and I never understood why it it didn't work, and it was really hard for me to get through it and realize, okay, so now I have to deal with the aftermath of a suicide attempt. And I have to deal with the fact that while it looked like an accident, people are going to ask me what happened. And I knew that. And I knew that it was going to be a touchy subject. And it got to the point where every time someone would ask me about it, I just kind of froze and I acted like, oh, I don't remember what happened, which I kind of don't, considering the only reason I even really know about the fatality and about the fact that it should have been fatal and all these things is because when I was recovering at home from my injuries, the police officer who found me at the scene actually came to my house. I guess he found it, the address on my license, and he said that he just had to see me because he couldn't believe that I survived, and he is stunned by the recovery that I was making, and the look on his face just kind of said it all. And it really, like, it really kind of hit some, like, struck a chord with me that this man, like, when he said that when he saw me that he thought I was dead. He didn't think that there was any way that I was, going to survive. And it was so, basically told me that the windshield, it almost looked like there was something on the windshield covering me, keeping me in the car, because otherwise I should have gone through the windshield and then it would have been a whole different story. So not only was I going through feeling like I'm already, in this life that I can't navigate. And now it's like, okay, great. Well, now I have to navigate a failed suicide attempt and all those feelings and everything. And it was really hard to do all that, a whole challenge on its own. But the only thing that really got me through it was thinking, okay, I'm here for a reason. And I need to figure out what that reason is. And I've come to learn I hit the lowest point of my life in order to make sure that no one else hits that low point. And I know what it feels like to be alone, and I know what it feels like to have no one, and it is traumatic. It's a traumatic experience at a young age, and I've been through so much on both sides. I've been in the depths of depression as well as on the other side now, using it, using my story to help people, and especially kids and teenagers your age, because that's really where it starts. The mental health stigma is so huge out there, and it's sad because no one wants to talk about it. People seem to think that if you don't talk about mental health, it doesn't exist. And that is not the case. And by living through that theory, we're actually doing more harm than good. And so that's why I've used my struggles, and I've used every single thing I've been through to come together and help others. And that is where my book, Trust Me, comes into play. This book is basically a culmination of everything I've been through. When I was in college, I was an English major and a poetry major as well. So every chapter begins with a poem that I wrote and then a chapter on everything. And it doesn't only deal with mental illness, it deals with things such as heartbreak, which is a huge thing, especially at your age, the teenage level, that everyone goes through, but not everyone knows how to deal with it. And it's challenging because that can lead to self-esteem issues and things like that. And then it talks about how to get help, if you should consider medication, if you should consider therapy, and all these things. It really delves into everything I've been through, but there's no kind of fluff in there. It's very straightforward, and it's very much my life, and it's very much my story and how I'm now using that to help others as well as help myself, because we are all works in progress and we all continue to need help, and we all continue to struggle. And that is my goal, in is order to help people realize that help is possible, that hope is possible, and that recovery is possible, and it is out there. And if I'm living proof of that, then that's the only thing I could ask for, and to help someone realize that they are not alone, and to help someone realize that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. I felt like I had to get there. If I didn't, they always say that if you're going to be stagnant in like stagnant waters, nothing's going to change. So it's hard because do I regret everything I've been through? No, I don't. Of course I could, I wish it didn't happen, but I wouldn't be the person that I am today. And I needed to hit that point in order to understand what it's like to be at that point and then the other side. I think that if I didn't get to that level, that this book and I do other talks, like I don't think that I would be able to make the difference that I have been without actually getting there. Well, I'm hoping that 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 people like me showing that it's okay to talk about your mental health and own it is going to help inspire people. I mean, for the longest time, I was so afraid, like I said, to tell anyone what was going on. And now, literally, you can read a couple hundred pages about it. So it really takes inner strength to be comfortable with yourself and to know that, you know what, there might be people there that are going to judge you. But the difference that you can make is just mind blowing. And it's actually interesting, especially in today's world, is the fact that everything going on with COVID and all of these, this crazy pandemic that we're in, mental health continues to deteriorate and mental illness continues to rise, and it's really sad, but that's every year the statistic is up. And especially given the times that we're in with this pandemic, it's only getting higher. And like for example, like people who struggle with anxiety, the unknowns of what's going to happen next with this pandemic is intimidating. For people that struggle with depression, being forced to stay inside and kind of be isolated from the world is going to deteriorate that even more. So it's like the statistics of mental illness are already skyrocketing, and it's only going to be even more heightened since all of this craziness in the world is going on. I mean, mental health awareness is always important. And I know that it's not a pleasant topic, but it is so important to be discussed. Sharing our stories and sharing what we've been through is so important. And I think you know, this I think that this pandemic alone is enough to kind of make everyone feel a little mentally unstable at times and, not knowing what's going on. But I think that this alone should be enough to help people find their inner strength while it feels like the world around you is crumbling. That is a great question because everyone always asks me that, and I feel like it always changes a little bit. The number one piece of advice I can give to someone is to seek help. And I don't mean, you know, call your mom or go to a hospital. I don't mean anything drastic like that unless you think that you need it. For me, my help was writing. Obviously, I am a writer, and I've always just kind of wrote everything down. And I think that that was my own help. Getting it out there and reading it was extremely helpful to me. And I also think that, people who are extroverts and have someone they can talk to, that's their lifeline, that's their help. Don't be ashamed to ask for help. I can't stress that enough. So again, yeah, being scared of getting help is totally normal because I was always afraid that if I told someone what I was thinking, they were going to freak out and call 911. I was always afraid of that. My suggestion is if you have someone close to talk to, you kind of almost preface it with that and just say, like, I'm not taking any action. I am safe, but here's what I've been feeling. And I'm coming to you for help because I trust you. I think that just laying that out there is so important. I do. Social media is a huge proponent in the sense that people can say or post whatever they want and basically not have consequences for it. It can be deleted, it could be this, that, other thing. And it's a way to, if you're using it the wrong way, it's a way to bully people outside of school. And I think that that's why social media has so much negativity attached to it. And it's sad because it's really meant for a good reason, but I think that you have to be smart about it. It's very easy for someone who's going through so much to feel threatened. And so like for me, it was always, if my mom just say was like, let's sit down and talk, I was like, uh-oh. I was like, here we go. Like, I'm not doing this. And that just like was a red flag. Um, to me, the two biggest tools that I've learned and that I suggest to people is that, kind of like I said before, if you are going to talk to someone about their mental illness, it's important to not make judgments, not to make assumptions. It's important to basically just kind of say like, I've noticed X, Y, and Z. Is everything okay? Don't make them feel overwhelmed. You don't want to overwhelm people because then they kind of close up. Showing someone that you're actually listening to what they're saying, what they have to say, and that you're present is so important. A coping mechanism can really be anything healthy. For me, it's anything creative. For people who are athletes, it's running or playing your sports. For people who have pets and love animals, it's being around them. It's things that can almost take the pain and whatever you're feeling in your mind a little bit off the forefront, shift it to the back for a little bit. It's almost like a self distraction. And it's just kind of taking those feelings, and you can't get rid of them because they don't go away that easily, but it's just getting you through that moment of, holy crap, I don't know what I'm going to do. My biggest thing is my family. And when I get to those really dark pits or those really like, I just can't do this anymore, I think about them. And I also think about the people that I've lost, mainly to suicide, but in general, because, I think that, and so I always kind of think, what would those people be saying to me? And then I think, how would my family feel? And how would I feel? I don't personally feel that suicide is a selfish act, having been through it, but so many people feel that way, and so many people would be devastated. And that is kind of what pushes me. And that's kind of what gets me out of those moments is thinking about others and thinking about all the people that I've talked to and that I've helped and that I've counseled, and it's like, I need to be that person for them,